talk among the community, Kino Casino seems to be in the middle of a massive implosion. If this is true, if we are witnessing the beginning of the end of the Kino Casino show, this should be the very last stand of the sector. This is the last time any of these people will ever be relevant, and we will never again have to deal with Andy Worski or his nonsense. This is the current year. Drama YouTube is so 2012. Okay? Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to see it. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to sit and listen to you ramble about Review Tech USA for like 2 hours every night. Okay? You can do that in a 10-minute clip. You shouldn't be sitting there ranting and raving about how much you hate Nick Rekieta. Like, oh, he's a degenerate. He's a disgusting human being. He's drinking too much. He's a hedonist. Like, oh, and then turn around and do things that are just as bad. Oh, wait, no. It's okay because we don't have kids, right? Like, Worski killed his in the womb. So, like, nothing... There is no getting out of this. We cannot let them weasel out of this. We cannot move away from this situation. We cannot ignore this. Like, Kino Casino are absolutely the same tier of scum as Ethan Ralph and the rest of them, right? Every single person in the sector is the exact same. Okay, they might as well be clones of each other, right? Instead of like Jurassic Park, like John Hammond came together with all these top research scientists, we are going to genetically engineer the biggest retards known to the human race. So you have Ethan Ralph in Mexico, you have Nick Rekieta in Minnesota, you have Review Tech USA wherever the hell he is, and you have Ashton and Worski in this shithole called Canada. You know, trying to call other people cucks. Like, oh, I'm sure Kamala Harris is going to win the election. I'm putting a lot of money down on her. Yeah, absolutely wrecked. Absolutely ruined. That, in and of itself, should have seen a massive decline in relevancy from the Kino Casino. But this show is so long, right? They stream so infrequently. They do like these, like 10-hour-long shows? You know, where they don't really talk about a lot. It is impossible for a normal person to keep up with anything they say or do. And as a result of this, a lot of their hot takes, a lot of their opinions, a lot of the things that they've been saying and doing behind the scenes have gone under the radar because they are the only relevant show in the sector right now, aside from maybe Null's Mad at the Internet show. Because Kino Casino are like the only show talking about a lot of these topics. You know, Nick Rekieta, Dickers, Review Tech USA, the Ralph lore. Like, people have just been letting them get away with murder for a really, really, really long time. And it really needs to stop, right? A lot of people contacted me saying that well, haven't you been saying nice things about the casino? And yeah, that is true. To a certain extent, I am responsible for this. I have released statements saying that I don't like them, I don't trust them, I don't watch the program really, I don't respect what they do, I think they're grifters, right? I would say stuff like that, right? But I would also say oh, it's nice that Ashton is, commenting on the Rekieta stuff. They're doing a good job covering Dickers, Review Tech USA, and laying out all the lore and all the weird history and stuff like that. They are the Ethan Ralph detractors, right? There's nice things you can say about anyone, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that I like these people or respect them, because I have always been consistent about this. I do not respect either of them at all. Both of them sold out in order to create this show centered around YouTube drama. They beg people for donations. They don't go live when they say they do. And now that major revelations about what the background of the lore of the show actually is has come out, they are unwilling to stream because they're cowards. They are unwilling to come out and face the music, to see that everyone is calling them out on their shit. And it is not going to go away. They don't have Daddy Jim to come in and sweep it up for them this time, like they did the last time this happened with the payment processors thing. 2 years. They had what should have been a career-ruining controversy 2 years ago, but they were able to be dragged out of it, kicking and streaming by Daddy Jim. Like, no, please, Worski, don't stop streaming, please. I want goofy stuff to laugh at on the internet, please. Like, I don't have anything else to do with my time. I'll do anything. I'll sweep it up, no matter how bad it gets, boyo. Jim was there since before the show even started. Jim is the reason that Kino Casino exists. He's the reason Ethan Ralph exists. He's the reason Mundane Matt exists. Like, the Medicare molecule is just a magnet for autism, right? We call this the sector. We say this entire thing revolves around Ethan Ralph, but it actually revolves around the biggest lolcow of all, Jim. Keep in mind, as we talk about Kino Casino going forward, as we talk about this developing situation, let it be known that Jim swept for these people. This cannot be understated. This cannot be ignored. I'm sick of this happening over and over and over again. Fuck Jim and fuck his ilk. Fuck everybody in this sector. All of you are scum. But the recent happenings in regards to the Kino Casino and the expose that has come out in recent weeks is interesting. It's really difficult to tell like how much of it is true or how much is exaggerated. I think it's going to take like quite a while for people to like parse through the information and start rationalizing just what is and what isn't true. But I do think it is safe to say that both Andy and Ashton are degenerates. They're doing a bunch of drugs, and maybe they're engaging in other degenerate behaviors, right? Maybe not to the same extent that someone like Rakeda or Ralph are, but like Ashton in particular is like a lot younger. So it's going to get to that point eventually, right? There's probably a lot of Ashton lore that we don't actually know, because before Kino Casino, he was completely irrelevant. He was a nobody. He was some guy that came on like Rakeda Law once and like screamed at Dick Masterson in regards to like New Project 2, right? Ashton, until Kino Casino, was a complete nobody. So a lot of his background is like kind of shrouded in mystery, right? He kind of made things up. I remember when he like tried to say he was like some minister, right? I'm a third generation minister in my family. Like I'm super Christian, man. Like he tried like going after Rakeda for his faith, which, let's be fair, like Ashton did call that before anyone else, I think, about how Rakeda was like a poser Christian. But like, Ashton himself is not much better, right? What kind of person goes on a live stream and like flashes his ass crack at the camera, right? What kind of person gets into like a domestic dispute with his live-in boyfriend live on camera and starts posting about it on YouTube with this rivalry that continues today? I'm referring to the Surfer situation, of course. Like, what kind of person has the background that Ashton does? Someone who seems incapable of holding down a job, of sticking to a real schedule for his streams, and I think reining in his retarded co-host, Andy. And there have been like a lot of situations like this. I haven't been watching the Kino Casino a lot because I don't really enjoy them, never really have. But like, I have seen enough of Ashton and Andy's interactions to tell you that they don't really like each other. Ashton is there because Andy Worski provides the pre-existing the OBS software and like the tech stuff, as incompetent as it is, and Ashton's there and like provides the personality and the ranting that people actually want to see, right? Like right now they're in this weird parasocial like relationship that seems on the verge of breaking down, right? Both of them are kind of talking shit about each other behind the scenes. I have some tweet here from some alleged tweets from uh, from PPP in regards to this. But like, yeah, you like you can kind of tell that like both of them are in this position and they can't really get out of it. They're stuck, doing the same old thing every single night. Like just acting excited at every donation they get, stimulating their pay pigs, doing everything they possibly can to just keep the gravy running, to keep in those pay piggies, to keep in the donations, the pay pigs. Right. This is a big deal in regards to the current controversy is that people have started looking into the Kino Casino's numbers a bit more. And it's not a large show. And I think those of us who have been paying attention to this know this, right? It's not like something unusual. It's not something that's unexpected. It's not something that like has come out of nowhere. But like the show is kept afloat by a handful of really dedicated hardcore fans, right? The pay pigs who basically just donate multiple times a night in order to prop up Andy and Ashton, to tell them that like you're doing a good job, guys. Like the show's so much fun. Like they they'll do this every night, several times a night, and they're both somehow like making, I don't know, six figures off of this. I think that's the figure I've been cited. But like, it's a lot like Dark Side Phil's model, right? Where you don't have a large audience that's watching you and like staying invested and really cares about you. Like you have a dedicated, like hardcore, like niche audience that donates to you for like attention, like this weird parasocial thing. And a lot of these people have kind of been exposed as being involved in the Vegas party scene. There are rumors that some of them were in the room with them when they had like that orgy or something. I don't know what the hell. Like again, like I don't know if any of that's been substantiated. I have not been able to do my research, unfortunately. PPP has fallen. Yeah, I do suppose in a lot of ways that PPP used to be really good at like calling out grifters. And yeah, he has become like the worst example of one, right? He's like a parody of what he used to like condemn, you know? Like the whole like he very much was like several years ago, like the kind of person who would like go out there and like talk about like how people like Dick Masterson were scamming their audience, about how it doesn't take that much money to like run a show like they do, about how they don't need donations, about how people like Rekieta Law don't really do anything with the income, right? Like the impression that Rekieta Law gave when he was doing these live streams was that like the idea was that like he was going to grow the operation and start talking about more and more things and like expanding his reach and actually doing something about a lot of problems in the sphere. And the Vic Mignogna thing gave some credence to the idea that like it was possible, right? But of course, like Nick betrayed all of our trust, and Ashton in a lot of ways was willing to call it out before call him out on it before most people. I do think I was like addressing some of my concerns before that, but I think Ashton's the one who watching that stream he did with Nick is really like the one that encouraged me to go out and like start regularly calling out Rekieta. Like I had done it before that, but like it became more common after that stream. Just seeing how incapable like Nick was at like handling someone able willing to like question him on like his business, his faith, his relationships, right? Like there's a lot of things
that like Ashton just brought out into the forefront into that period, right? And he was doing like pretty solid like exposés up until Kino Casino started, and then immediately it shifted into grift, like a giant grift, right? It's a lot like how Medicare like used to be the most based man on the internet until like he started the Patreon and started doing nothing but streams and started like just not talking about anything interesting, like the coof is gonna kill us all, guys. Like, yeah, we saw a similar like decline with Ashton, right? But it was honestly like harder and faster than what Jim went through. Like, plenty of people will deny that Jim ever had like a decline or like a fall from grace. But Ashton, like he fell way harder and way faster, and because of his size and weight, he like left a meteor crater in the planet Earth. Like Ashton had so much potential as a YouTuber, so much, and he threw it all away to like create this drama show where he just screams at people for like really petty reasons, like imagine being Ashton. Imagine being a huge Spoonie fan. Imagine like seriously being the kind of person who goes out and tries to say like Spoonie is a king. Spoonie was the greatest reviewer on That Guy with the Glasses. Not true. And imagine over a decade later seething about Lord Cat calling out Spoonie, addressing all of his flaws as an individual, exposing him as a fraud, and talking about like how the decline into irrelevancy was an inevitable. Well, not necessarily like with those terms, but like Lord Cat did something that a lot of people are still unwilling to do, was acknowledge that Noah Antweiler, the Spoonie one, was completely incapable of maintaining his online presence, at least to the capacity that he had been doing. Right? Lord Cat called that out before anybody. And to this day, Spoonie fans seethe to the point where they seriously have to talk about this obscure e-celeb even today in order to prop up their hero like Spoonie. They seriously still think that Spoonie is going to make a glorious comeback. They still seethe about Lord Cat for making fun of their idol. And in PPP's case, he'll make entire live streams about how Lord Cat is a tranny and how this somehow makes what he said about Spoonie wrong. Oh man, Spoonie may have spent the past decade living in his brother's house and being sad and not producing any new content at all. But like, oh, at least he's not Lord Cat. At least he isn't a troon. Like, come the fuck on. Lord Cat is a woman now, and he's still somehow more of a man than Spoonie. I don't understand how Ashton can't see that. That's just ridiculous to me. It's just such a delusional hot take. Like, oh, it's definitely Spoonie definitely won this time. When you have like Lindsay Ellis is a millionaire now, Doug Walker's doing well for himself. Cinema Snob is still like on That Guy with the Glasses, like one of only three guys, I think. Angry Joe is still putting out content, as much as I hate Angry Joe. Like, you have all these people who are still very, very relevant, still producing content, still considered internet icons, and then you have Spoonie, who's a complete and utter nobody, whose only claim to fame is that people like Ashton prop him up and worship him indefinitely. Let's see here. Maybe we should look at like the Kiwi Farms thread and see if we can wrap our head around. Let's see. I think PPK could probably do fine on his own, or with another co-host. I think his major issue now is tech illiteracy. Or rather, I would say that the stink of this Medicare Massachusetts shit is strong, and it's only going to get worse the longer they continue to try to pull the wool over people's eyes. He had the right idea in telling Andy it's either him or his DGen pay big friends. Shame he apparently doesn't have the balls to actually make good on that threat. I
I don't disagree with that. I would say the thing for Ashton to do
At this point is to cut ties with Andy and try to salvage his reputation. Try to blame Andy for everything, like, oh, Andy's the drug addiction degenerate, not me. And then like try and start over with like someone else on a different show and like maybe change the format a little bit. But it's like what I said, like he doesn't have the capacity to do that. Remember when 2024 was supposed to be the year of the Spoonie one? They say that every year. Like every single year. Like every year, Spoonie still exists. So he's the greatest thing to ever happen. Like, yeah. Hacks, the whole lot of them, none of them show any integrity. Yeah, they can't own up to their mistakes, right? I've never heard anybody in the sector like come out and say that like, yeah, I did something wrong. I apologize for it. I'll try to do better. Like, you never see them like seriously try and make an effort in like fixing whatever problems they have. They always just double down and they get angry at people. Like Ricada got used to get angry at people calling him out for drinking so much. Like he would get angry for like people shitting on Drexel. Rightfully so. Right. He would like do. People were calling him out on his nonsense years ago, but it just didn't become mainstream until relatively recently. Like,
but yeah, let's see here. They'll just wait it out like they always do. The Halloween streams were more than enough to cover for a while, and Handy kept saying in the post-show streams that he'd love to take a vacation with that money. In about a month, they'll have access to a new cycle of viewers while the same batch of pay pigs stick around. Yeah, they took a hit, and if they still can't stream until Christmas, New Year's, they would have missed out on prime time stream viewership. But it won't be enough for a true permanent death of the casino. Though maybe I'm also asking for too much. Let's see, gradual decline. Okay.
Going on a vacation with that money. Imagine like getting more money than you usually get and immediately going on a vacation. That's what we make fun of like Darkside Phil for, right? For the staycation he made after he got like 1 million views on that like review he did. Like that's not what you should be doing. Like you should be like investing that money wisely and like putting it towards your next project and making more money, right? There's no reason to take a vacation immediately after getting a little bit of a payday. And yeah, they've already taken like some time off. Like this isn't the first like hiatus they've been on recently. Like I think before October they were nowhere to be seen for a couple of weeks. So like yeah, they can't keep taking time off like this and stay relevant. Like other shows are gonna come on and do what they do better without any of the baggage. And I do think that is in the process of happening. Like I think this recent happening is a big enough deal where people are going to become more comfortable like coming out and shitting on them. I decided to fire up a stream today because of that. Like I don't really often feel the need to shit on the casino, but like with recent events, I kind of felt like I had to because like, I can't sit here and do nothing when I have a platform and I'm seeing these people get away with their nonsense, right? Like I just couldn't like abide by that, right? Like I had to do something. I didn't want a repeat of like the Ricada thing where like it felt like, I wasn't talking about it enough. And like I wasn't taking the steps I needed to protect myself from the fanboys who were just like, no, you're just jealous. Nick's not like that. Like, I don't know, man. Like I really, really wish I had done a better job covering Nick Ricada in the early days. Like, I really wish I could have done better. And there are reasons I didn't, right? Because of, like, my schedule and just how taxed I was. Like, there was so much going on. Like, I did everything I could. I felt like I could. I wish I could have done more, but, like, yeah, let's not do that again. Like, let's not mince words this time. Fuck the Kino Casino. Fuck Ashton. Fuck Andy. Their entire show needs to be shut down. I am so tired of these people using the goodwill of other people to live these degenerate lifestyles. Like, this is just unacceptable to me. I just can't wrap my head around it. Let's see. These pay pigs are the bottom of the barrel. Amaranth's pay pigs at least do it to kind of find some interaction with a woman, even fake. These pay pigs are infinitely more stable than the lolicon pedophiles these two retards harbor. The KC pay pigs are the bottom of the barrel, even amongst pay pigs. Yeah, I don't know anything about the pay pigs. I don't know like anything about who these people are or what their backgrounds are. Like Ralph had like a lot of degenerates in his pay piggies. Gator and Flamenco were both like lolicon enthusiasts, which makes them pedophiles. So like I don't know if that's also true for like Kino Casino because like they don't like anime. They don't advocate for anime. They don't talk about like those kind of topics, right? Like I don't know. Maybe I guess like there's just a lot of like retarded right wing people in the grifter sphere that like there's gonna be like these weird like anime enthusiasts no matter where you go. But like I don't know. I personally didn't see that. And I make a big point of like really going in hard on like lolicons. I really don't like them at all. Like I don't like VTubers. I just made a whole like thing on that. Like I don't like these people. I think they're scum. Is my honest opinion on that. Uh, their falling out is guaranteed, but how and when is another thing. Angie just might be the biggest snake there has ever been in Dissector, along with Ralph. Hell, they even snaked each other, and both were prepared for it at the time. Snakenings are deep in their nature. So yeah, like, are we about to witness a snakening? Are we legit gonna see like a backstabbing? I do think we're at that point where we might actually see it. I predicted this would happen years ago. Like I knew it would happen eventually, but like it was just a matter of like time. Yeah, but like yeah, I did. I've always known it was gonna collapse. It lasted way longer than I thought it would. Like, after what happened with like the payment processor thing and some of the things that happened early on, like I thought it wouldn't last like 6 months. Like I'm being completely honest with like it felt like they had an initial good run with like the Fuck Ralph Festival, and then like they had a bunch of boring shows after that. And then like it felt like they were hitting their stride. Like a bunch of things started happening with Ricada and Review Tech USA and Ralph and all this stuff. Well, actually, they were talking about Ralph at the beginning, but like, it felt like they were finally they managed to find their niche at a certain point. They had enough pay pigs to sustain themselves. They were happy. They were satisfied. They were able to take vacations. They had like the schedule they wanted. I think Ashton moved out like they were living together at one point, and Ashton has his own place now. Um, like I think there were like some major changes a while back that like led this to last as long as it did, but it looks like we're at the point now where it's starting to crumble again, which is I think it's hilarious. This thread has driven them into the bunker. I wonder how bad the pressure is going to have to get for someone to snake. PPP has kind of burned all his bridges with the writer's room debacle. I don't think he can do a KC style show solo, and the only E-celeb he still gets on with is Null, who I doubt would do a regular show with him, especially at this point. Yeah, who's he gonna get to replace Andy? Like that's a real question. I would like to be point. Is it gonna be someone from the audience? Like, is it gonna be Godwinson? Like, again, it's just like who would possibly go in with this guy? Like who would do it? Like anybody like looking for like clout and attention, but like who would be able to replace Andy? Like I feel like at this point, like every sector personality has faded into irrelevancy. Nobody is relevant anymore. So like who exactly is going to like be a suitable co-host? Like I can't think of anybody. Like again, if he gets rid of Andy, he's gonna have to start doing these shows on his own. And he's not going to be able to do that. Like he can't rant and rave and ramble for 4 hours straight. Like that just isn't viable. Like he has to have Andy like do his retarded like seal claps and like interrupt him so he can like take a breath or something. Like this is like a dire situation for them, I think. Both of them. But let's see. They'll definitely snake each other eventually. I just don't think that's going to be for a while. A few months at least. They actually do have the money to just take a month-long vacation, so they're both comfortable. When the money's a bit dry, though, when there isn't an easy target to A-log anymore, that's when they'll really get sick of each other. Let's see. Ralph's death being the start of their downfall. PPP will embody the spirit of Gunt and become the new Ralph,
All the signs are already there. Oh, so instead of the Sonic Shoe demon, it becomes the Ralph demon. Oh man. Oh no. These guys must really not like making money when you have a whole bombshell of reacting to the fallout of Destiny and Fuentes fucking each other. I don't know anything about that. I have not been able to fall. I have not been able to keep up with everything that's been happening. Like it's so difficult for me. Like I just finished my book. Like I'm working. Like I'm streaming it. It's so difficult keeping up with all this autism. I don't even know. Pause an episode of Columbo. What are you talking about? Columbo is Kino. Turn that shit back on. I love Columbo. Oh, by the way, you might see something Columbo related from me at some point in the near future. So stay tuned for that. But like, yeah, replacing Andy as a low bar. Well, like Andy is like the tech guy though. Like that's the thing. Like it isn't practical for Ashton to maintain the show himself when like Andy is the one who handles like the OBS stuff. Who like is more tech literate and can like actually has like a little bit of talent. Like who knows how to like at least boot up a live stream. Like Ashton seems completely incapable of doing that for some reason. Like remember when he used to like stream from like these like I don't even know what he was using. It was like some 240p like heads. I don't know, like some crazy like webcam that looked like it was from like 2008. Like it was so unbelievable. It was like lower quality than what I use, and I used to use like absolute crap. I used to use like uh like rock band microphones, right? Like I have used some really shitty equipment like back in the day. It was never as low quality as that, I don't think. Maybe in the very beginning, but yeah, missing out talking on the Fuentes stuff. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I'll have to look into that. Sounds like, well, I mean, again, like they're not doing a good job of like staying on top of these things because this has been like a thing for like a while now, right? And yet they haven't talked about it. They haven't done a show because they're so scared of what's happened with these recent leaks and these revelations and like people snaking on them, people kind of exposing them for some of the things they did. And that is the important thing to note at this stage. Some of the things we know they did. Like this isn't like an expose all. This isn't like some insider like document where we know Ashton was here and Andy was there and they were like butt fucking each other from like I don't know, like the human said like, we don't know everything yet. This isn't like Ricada. Like, it took us years of like research and like investigations and like witness testimonials. Like we had like a guy on the inside, Aaron Imholt, have to come out and like give us radical new insights on like what actually happens in like Casa Ricada with like the swinging and the wife swapping and like the state of the house and stuff like that. Stuff that we speculated on but didn't know like concretely, right? Um, like we don't have anything like that for the Kino Casino guys. Like nothing. Like I really don't know like when and how any of this is gonna come out. Like when we're gonna get like a fuller picture of like what's been going on for the past 2 years. Like I don't know if we ever will, honestly. It just kind of feels like with like how isolated these people must be that they've probably just been like I don't know, watching weird porn and just doing a lot of drugs at home and not necessarily like fucking with other people the way Ricada did, going to hedonism too, like whoring out your wife, like I really, after Ricada, I have a really hard time imagining that anything Kino Casino has done is worse. But like again, when you look at like what they do though, like when you see how often they like morally like sanctimonize like Ricada and what he does. Like, yeah, you see, like it's a ridiculous like double standard. Like, you're really going to call Ricada a sick fuck for like doing what he did, and then like turn around and do like something very, very similar.
like it's hypocritical, right? Like how exactly are we supposed to take you seriously when you're just as degenerate as Nick Rekieta? Like what exactly like how exactly are we supposed to take you seriously if you're the exact same as Ethan Ralph, right? And this has been like my problems with Kino Casino for the longest time is that like their grift seems to center around this idea of like acting like they're better than everybody they're talking down to. You know, Review Tech USA, like Review Tech USA, Ralph, like Nick Rekieta, it's all the same. Where like they all just do this thing where like, oh, I can't believe they did this, da da da. And like meanwhile behind the scenes, they're doing like a lot of the same things. They are harassing people, like well, harassing people. They're all equally get. Yeah, that is true. Yep.
Like I just got done with a big rant about that. Everybody in the sector is gay. Let's see. No one is going to listen to all the fluff and padding before interesting bits. A 2 hour long clip from a show that lasted 6 or 8 hours is hardly egregious. To be fair, they bitched about T clips for the same thing. When I split this thread from PvPs, I intentionally made her the OP to maximize seething from Ashen fantards, trying to astroturf their bitchery toward a literal fucking clips channel. It actually worked. Fan threads are disasters. I'm not against it, but it should be a decent mix of memes, criticisms, and discussion, rather than lopsided locale simping. Wait, what? That's not a null post, is it? I mean, this being on Kiwi Farms, you know, I remember the Nick Rekieta thread. You know, I remember what a big dick sucking like brigade that was for years. You know, like I saw how like everybody who spoke out against Rekieta got like shit on until like the Baldo came out, right? Like that was like the big like impetus. Like the Rekieta thread was just a Baldo sucking bonanza. God, I hate Kiwi Farms. I hate this one. But my old battle buddy, he was one of the best ones. Fearless at the broom, like yours truly. They don't make them like these anymore. Let's see. If the fat retard wasn't so greedy for money, he could see that it's quite the beneficial relationship. You use illicit clips, a Rekieta, Steel Toe Morning Show, Uncivil Sean, and allow them to make hundreds of dollars during the segments. So is Ashton seething at Alyssa? That's really interesting. I have not seen him do that. I would not mind a clip of that. I would not mind a clip of that. Let's see. What's with everyone like shitting on Alyssa recently? Like Rekieta did it. Like Ashton is doing it. Uh, Casey is something you either need to listen to live or the edited version their clip channel conveniently puts up. I would not listen to an unedited playback of Casey. Flake does a good job keeping some of the energy from the live show experience, but getting rid of a lot of the small things that make the show drag. Alyssa Clips doing unedited clips is better for something like Mad at the Internet, where the show has a better structure. It seems like she sticks to clipping, which is all anybody wants. Let's see. Man, there's been like so much that's happened lately. It's so difficult to process through it. Yeah, especially when like I just got home from work and I can't show prep. Despite wanting to be gym walkers, they have forgotten one of the many ways Jim has remained consistently liked. Any controversy, albeit there have been very few, the doxing and such, he didn't give a fuck and continued streaming and met it head on. It's amazing when streamers in the sector, despite a decade of numerous trials by public opinions, despite seeing the rise and fall of so many content creators for the same reasons, somehow do the exact opposite of absolutely everything they give advice to others while railing on them. It's even more retarded if you consider that without MM, they'd still be making significant revenue with the consistent donos they get from the audience, even without the main pay pigs. They are actively destroying their farm to save an ox. Retarded shit. Like, really fucking retarded. They're losing more money trying to get this to go away than they'd make from MM. If they just came out, shat all over him, made a segment absolutely raping his public image, I can guarantee you that the donos would be flying and people would be throwing even more money at them for being consistent in their beliefs and not being too pussy to admit there was a fuck up. Also, it'd be funny if the reason they haven't streamed is because the forums was down. Without it, they literally have almost no original content. Hmm. Alyssa's been flagging a lot of people. Hmm. Wasn't she getting flagged though? Like Ricada was like getting her thing. Yeah, last I heard from her, like Ricada struck her videos down. And then like I came out and supported her. I believe Kino Casino did as well. So if Ashton is like speaking out against her now, that's definitely really interesting. I don't know. I don't know why people are so obsessed with like shitting on Alyssa Clips so much. Like just because she's successful at what she does, like I don't know. Like she's a clipper. Like who cares? Like who cares what she clips, you know? All right. Yeah, I don't know. Is that everything I wanted to say, really? Hmm. Yeah, I suppose this is a developing situation, but let's see. The Discord. Oh yeah. That's right. Wait, hang on. That's right. Yeah, yeah, I did see this. Yeah, I forgot to talk about it. Yeah, I had this brought up. I was gonna mention it, but I just forgot. Okay. Yeah, so I have this leaked image from PPP. I don't wanna show my Discord on stream. But yeah, in underline, it's true, boys. It's over. I can't wait to sell every fan who pay picked me into the feds also. Wow. Wow, Ashton. Wow. Like, really? You're seriously gonna sell your fans? Let's see. Your fans' information. That is crazy. That is absolutely insane that you would like ever say that for any reason. Oh, it's a full thread. Okay. Can I bring the thread up? Let's see. PPP DM leak. Esoteric Shaggyism. I believe you're in the chat, actually. Hello. PPP DM leak. Kino Casino's PPP had hundreds of private messages revealed recently. The cascade of revelations range from discussing selling their fans' info to the feds, PPP despising Andy Worski. Yeah, we really need to see that. I really want to look at that specifically. PPP attacking their own donors and allies, such as Jaden McNeil and Josh Moon. I wouldn't call Josh Moon an ally, but PPP admits to being vaxxed, which is further confirmed by going to Las Vegas. Yeah, he was outright saying that he wasn't vaxxed and he never would be. So yeah, notably, travel restrictions in Canada were still in place. It was impossible to leave and return without the vax. The Kino Casino are vax libtards who publicly lie about it. PPP defending swatting after his former friend had police show up. PPP and Andy Worski spent a year falsely accusing me of being a swatter. In reality, they're the ones involved with that behavior and justifying it. Kino Casino supports swatting. It's just jealous poor fags. Surfer is seething because I showed that he didn't make the content, and it's rich of him a confirmed cop collar to cry about swatting. PvP and Andy Worski sent A-logs to stalk people's houses. I won't moralize over that. However, Kino Casino publicly said they had no clue this would happen. They lied, which this DM leak confirmed. In reality, Kino Casino will stoop to any low to harass their critics. PPP privately hates Andy Worski. PPP admitted that Andy Worski was still on cocaine and living at his parents' house. Plus, PPP ragged on Worski for running from fights. I'm officially seething, bros. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I think, there's other people in these threads. So like, I think it's really, hmm. Yeah, they're definitely interesting because of like who he's talking to. But like, I don't know if this is like the big smoking gun. I don't know. Let's see. PBB refers to Andy Worski as worthless, actively saying Koski doesn't deserve to live. Let's see. I had to sit here and tell this faggot that he makes the show. So he doesn't feel bad. The audience doesn't like me. I'm upset. Faggot, why don't you try and do something to make them like you? Does he not understand why people hate him? I talked to Andy. He said he's nervous. I told him to just stay calm and play the greatest hits of Ralph. He's worried Big is going to join. Pretty much. I built on a foundation of sand and I get what I deserve. May Allah smite Andy for his insolence. What? What? It's just that he doesn't give a fuck about anything. He's worthless as shit. This is from 2022, by the way. He lives on Twitter. There is no way he didn't see the message, so it's fucking bizarre. Even if he was making 100,000 a week, he couldn't be bothered to send a DM to set up a show. He couldn't be fucked to even find one clip for content for $1 million. He should be shot. Okay. That is interesting. That is interesting. PBB privately admits he's unable to tie his own shoelaces. The way Stanley Tit tries to frame it is that we have zero social skills or even an ability to speak words. It's just so disconnected from reality. Then about half a dozen posts trying to gaslight me into tying my shoes. The one guy defending me for being able to self-reflect will need to be banned. People need to realize I am Christian because Josh says so. Let's see here. PPP bitches that Andy Worski at age 34 is unable to find an apartment on his own. Ashton Parks describes his partner in Kino Casino as worthless, useless, and a liability behind his back. PPP again predicts the end of Kino Casino arising when Andy Worski portrays him. Andy is honestly asking me how to get an apartment. Like, what the fuck? You're 34. Fuck me, man. Tonight's show, once again, he's going to be a liability and collect $1,000 for running OBS. Fuck. I'm begging anyone to be able to run OBS for 1,000 a show. Not everything can be the funniest thing ever. He knows right well what the problems are. The worst is I'm going to get all the blame when this shit goes south. And he's going to cry a river about my ego. Fuck me, man. Tonight's show, once again, he's going to be a liability. Okay. Let's see. Andy generally being a useless bastard. Okay. PvP attacks KiwiFarms.net, claiming that he, not Josh Moon, yeah, the writer's room. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I've heard the term thrown around before. One corn joke, guys. One corn joke. Ralph was a millionaire, total success till I made the corn joke. I didn't do that as a concession to overwhelming pressure of NP2. It was a master troll. WTF is happening, boys? A Catboy subforum. Did I just build Josh's website for him now? BBE complains that Andy Worski was sucking up to notorious pedophile Flamenco. BBE describes his business partner as crying like a bitch. Wow. Andy currently trying to give me shit for exposing Jesse's gay op about his brother. Andy is such a faggot. Currently sucking Flamenco off for clout in the gutter. I want Brian to just felt Flamenco. Andy is crying like a bitch. Andy is now making testosterone. Let's see. Okay. PPP describes Jaden McNeil as incompetent and not a good speaker. Jaden's top allies absolutely despise him and privately wish for him to be gone, trash talking Jaden on multiple occasions. Kino Casino is just waiting to stab the knife into Jaden's scrawny back. Jaden is spilling his guts, but he's not a good speaker. Kinda surfer like. Ashton Parks mocks a fan for donating while their dog is dying. There? There? Come on, Shaggy, you're better than this. His fan. His dog. Come on. Not only will PPP sell your info to the feds, he'll attack you as a pay pig and gossip privately if you donate. Kino Casino resents their fans for being so dumb while bragging about ripping them off. It's going to happen. We need to get even beyond Phil's level so all of us can be rich. Fuck the pay pigs. Fuck the guy with the dying dog the most. Imagine donating when your dog's dying. I think the cringiest thing about this is that Shaggy specifically used they there when PPB specified it was a guy. But anyway, pay pigs want interactive. Grifter Rams making all the money for Grifter PPP, the golden age. Gumroad up to 920 a month, boya. Soon the Tesla will be mine. My disappointment is immeasurable. I can't believe the A-Logs couldn't even win a poll. I want to string Josh up from a meat hook for this. What is he even talking about? This is so out of context. It's like you can't keep track of like everything that's happening. I don't know, man. You really have to be plugged into like the autism matrix to like know like who these people are, what they're talking about. Like I don't know, man. Like I don't like how he talks about other people privately. I will say that much. Like I think that is like the thing that concerns me most about looking at this information is that Ashton like talks shit about people he knows personally the way he does. Like Andy specifically, but I think that also extends to like people like Jaden and Josh. Like, why are you spurging out about them? Like Josh on a meat hook? Like fucking really? Is that how you're gonna keep him from having pizza day? Like, yeah, I think he shit talks way too much. Like I do have a problem for that with that. Yeah, I don't like how he treats Worski. Like, if you really don't like Worski, if you have a problem with him, like, why don't you just like end the partnership and get a new BF? Oh, I'm sorry, like a new like a new co-host, like a new CH. Like again, if you're shit talking him that much, like get a replacement. Like find someone else who can run OBS. Like, what's the big deal? Like I uh I can't. I definitely want to see something more recent because like all of that was from like 2022. I'm really curious what's been happening over the past couple of weeks, like behind the scenes, like why they're not doing shows, what they hope to accomplish, what they hope to do going forward. I don't think it does to me. To me, it feels like the show is in its twilight years. Like to me, I just don't think they can just keep going the way they have. Like, I think there's going to be some kind of snakening very soon, and like the two are going to break up, and there's going to be like a split in the audience. And the way things look right now, I think the majority of the audience is going to side with Ashton because Worski contributes nothing to the show. He's just like a lazy bum. Like he just runs OBS. Like Ashton I think is gonna try to go solo. Like I going by what I've been seeing, I think that's probably what we can expect. But that's just my prediction. I don't know. And like, yeah, if it was under any other circumstances, like I even said that's what he should do a while back. That like, yeah, he really should just drop Andy. But like, the way it looks to me is that like the timing is gonna be like really
really unfortunate because if he drops Andy during the middle of a controversy, like this controversy is gonna follow him to whatever he tries to do next, whether it's like a new show with someone else or like like I think too many people know who he is now to like let him let this fade away. And I think that's part of the problem now is that like the show is too well known to just kind of end without like some kind of backlash. Uh they need the Ricada trial. Yeah. I don't know what I don't know. I think like other like legal YouTubers are doing a way better job of that now. I'm seeing like this guy like Meme Copium cover stuff every day. Like Mr. Sen's on YouTube. Alyssa's doing her thing. I want to like do something like that. Like I would want to do something like that if I had time. Like, I think there are like alternatives for Ricada content for sure at this stage. That wasn't true for like a while, but I do think there are viable alternatives now. So I don't know if like a Ricada stream would like save them. I don't know. It does feel like the Ricada thing is like winding down. I do think that like Kayla leaving and like the money running out is kind of gonna be the end of it. Like I don't really like what are we gonna do when Ricada is in prison? Like are we gonna like go in jail and see how many like cocks he sucks? Like no, like I don't see that happening. Like he's gonna come back like once he gets out and like start going off on like how he was mistreated or something. Like I don't think like his channel is gonna disappear or anything, but like he's not gonna be like streaming for a while if that happens. So it'll be really interesting to see like what things look like after this court case concludes. I'm very curious about how things are looking. Like it feels like to me that like nothing's happened in the Arcada space in a while. Like to me, it's like Nick just role playing as April with himself on Twitter and like trying to gaslight people into thinking it's really her. It's like yeah, I haven't like I'm really curious as to see like what Ricada's next stream is gonna be like because he hasn't streamed in a while. I just looked at like my locals well his locals page a while back and I guess I could bring it up now. He was like talking about like biblical passages or something. He was like comparing himself to like King David or something. I'm not a biblical scholar. I know David killed Goliath because like everyone does that, but I don't I don't know anything after that. Like he becomes a king and he has some kind of fall from grace, I think. I need to get caught up on my biblical lore, but like anyway, yeah, Thanksgiving. I've been thinking a lot about David for a while now. David is a walking dichotomy. I hate him. I don't like his character. I hate how he is venerated and his sins are ignored. I hate that his obviously brutish behavior is excused. He exploited so many people with the quiet threat of violence. He took what he wanted. He killed or ordered killed those who stood in the way of his birthright, his ambition, or his mere wants. David is a bad man. Yet the more I think of his story, the more I see myself. David suffers from a capacity problem from the reader's standpoint. Most of us are not a king who can have a man killed to hide our infidelity. We look at the audacity of murder and it forces us to overlook the infidelity. Infidelity is, I think, the hardest thing to maintain for honest adults. Yeah, maybe for you, you coomer, but fidelity is faithfulness and support in all circumstances. Now we mitigate infidelity in so many ways, not actually having sex, having a hall pass or permission, or pretending that it. What the fuck does this mean? Pretending that it's limited to mere sexuality in the first place. Your relationship is probably not solely defined by sex, so neither can be fidelity be so limited. What the hell is he talking about? Like, what the hell is this insane ramble? Okay, so what I think he's trying to say is that like cheating on your spouse can be different. That like you don't have to fuck her to cheat, is what he's saying. Like You don't have like he didn't have to stick his dick in April to like step over the line to like being unfaithful to his wife. I think he's saying. Uh, but anyway, your relationship is probably not solely defined by sex, so neither can fidelity be so limited. I know my own infidelities are myriad, and almost none of them involve sexuality in any way. What? What kind of cope is this? You are the biggest coom addicted like degenerate I've ever seen in my life. I know dudes who create lolicon porn. Well, who goon over lolicon porn, who like regularly throw it on their streams, who obsess over it, who'll try to tell you shit who'll try to recommend like the best lolicon VTubers or whatever. I know people like that. They come off as less sexually starved than you do. Like, what is this bullshit? None of them involve sexuality? Like, what is this cope? You are the most sex obsessed individual I have ever seen in my life. Like, what? Wait, Gator called out? Wait, who called? What did Gator call out? Well, anyway, I know my infidelities are myriad, and almost none of them involve sexuality in any way. But we always want an excuse. Maybe I should just move the. Okay. So you can see me on camera. But we always want an excuse. We need an excuses because we cannot kill our problems like David could. David's status gave him the capacity to sin bigger than us. David's originating sins are the same as any mere man or woman. Well, what about those other things? What about non-binary individuals, Nick? Did you forget about the they thems? That's the value of the character, and that's the message. God's love of David transcends his immense capacity to sin audaciously before the Lord. The message is not that David is so special, rather that David's sins are the mere extrapolation of our own when unshackled by the restrictions of our sin. What the fuck does this mean? Rather that David's sins are the mere extrapolation of our own. So it's the same thing, but unrestricted? I hate David because I am David. I hate me. I hate my sins and my failures. Do you? I have never seen you express regret for what you've done ever. Do you? Do you even acknowledge what your failures are? I hate my infidelities. I hate when I have killed to get my way. I hate the result of all my choices being a shattered state. I hate that there isn't anyone else to blame. What? But you blame everyone else all the time. You blame your lawyers. You blame your wife and her ruined body. You blame your kids. We sin within our capacity. Okay, we fail bigger than we knew our capacity to be. So I think he's saying that David sinned more because he was a king or something, and God loves him anyway. I don't know. The scariest part is always just wondering when the storm is finished, so you can go outside and start picking up the pieces. God's message is that he was there before the storm, protected you during the storm, and will help you clean up after, even though you flap your stupid wings hard enough to create the storm in the first place. At least my sons have not raised armies against me. Yet. I still have that on David. Holy fucking shit. Well, okay. God's message is that he was there before the storm, protected you during the storm, and will help you clean up after, even though you flap your stupid wings hard enough to create the storm in the first place. So he's admitting that it's entirely his fault. Okay, whatever. At least my sons have not raised armies against me. So does he think his sons are going to become YouTube streamers and then go to war with him? They're going to start okay. Okay, what a cope. What the hell even was that? I don't even know what that means. Yeah, if we had a trust fund like he does, Like, yeah, I know people who like I don't know if they would have trust funds, but yeah, they come from like upper class. Like, yeah, I know people like that. Yeah, I have seen that happen. Yeah, yeah, I really have been thinking about that a lot lately. With like my career, I really wonder if I would have been like Ricada if I had like more support from my family, because I'm always bitching about that, about how I had to work so much. But I don't know. At the same time, I could have turned out like him. I don't know. I Yeah, I don't know. I mean that is kind of something to think about. Is that like how much of like who I am today is because of like my past experiences. Like if I had what I want, everything I wanted, would I be like a terrible person? Like would I be like Ricada? That is interesting. I have thought about that before. I don't know. I think I have a lot in common with Ricada, actually. Like we're like he wanted to be a novelist too, and I actually have like finished projects, and he's never put out anything. It's the difference is really really interesting. Uh, yeah, I probably should get to bed. I have to go to work tomorrow, so I think that'll be it for now. Yeah, thank you all for tuning in. I hope I can start doing morning shows again. This was a lot of fun, and with my schedule like easing up a little bit, I might be able to keep doing these. Hopefully, I know everybody likes them, and I have fun doing them. I just don't have time. So, um, until next time.